Geno, who's this guy?
The greatest of all time, Big Stevie Cool, the only man who's better than Diesel in every way, shape, or form because he's bigger than Diesel, Stevie Richards.
We're going to watch this whole 12 minutes probably because it's about that piece of scumbag who blocked me, Shawn Michaels. Geno, my favorite wrestler, Shawn Michaels. Stevie Richards' favorite wrestler, Shawn Michaels. And they say never meet your heroes. And look, the title of this video, Shawn Michaels hated me after I said this to him. What do you think he said, Geno? You're a cross-eyed idiot. No, he didn't say that. He was actually, I won't spoil it. You'll see. This changed everything for me. And it made me proud to be blocked by Shawn Michaels. Because look, just because I like a wrestler doesn't mean I need them to like me. And Shawn Michaels is a worthy victim after all the stories I've heard about him. That guy. This one's great.
I already was familiar. I introduced myself probably for a 13th, 14th, maybe 25th time to him. And then I said, Shawn seems pretty cool. And Hunter would joke around and say, here's your idol, which I was totally fine with, because Hunter knew Shawn was somebody, main reason I got into the business. Shawn, I don't know, knew that or not. So I went up to him and I said, hey, man, can I talk to you for like 2 minutes, please? Oh, yeah, sure. Pulled him aside in catering or by the entrance where nobody was and said, I just want to let you know that you're the reason I got into professional wrestling. I was a big fan of yours even before Heartbreak Kid, talked about Midnight Rockers, talked about them versus Doug Summers and Buddy Rose and AWA. And I was just such a huge fan, and you made such an impression on me that I just wanted to thank you for it, because I wouldn't be in WWE today if it wasn't for you.
What if one day Dizzy came up to you and you had a big podcast and he said, Geno, you inspired me. You on TWFS, you were so amazing. You had your X Division title and you had your Nyla Rose shirt and you were so gutsy and courageous and you just inspired me. Like, how would you react to something like this, Geno?
It would be hard for me to really put into words how I would respond. Like, it would be emotional, be choked up, but it's because it would be the first time I've experienced it. Shawn has experienced it probably thousands, if not millions of times by this point in his career. So, like, he would probably be annoyed that someone who is a colleague of his would do the same thing. Like, why are you being like a fucking Mark who would do this to me millions of times before him?
Why would you be annoyed from someone saying you're amazing and you inspired me? What, so it's cool the first 5 times, but then it's like everyone needs to shut up?
I think for Shawn, he would feel that way. Like, he's been doing this for years by this point. Like, Shawn would probably feel like everyone fucking says this every fucking time. It just becomes repetitive.
Why would it ever expire? You should be not get choked up like Geno would, but it's like have a little fucking respect. A guy's in WWE. You didn't get him there, but you inspired him to do it. And, yeah, we still care about – and this is Christian Shawn. Geno, he had babies and ate all their cookies while he was high, and then that inspired him – to get sober, and now he's sober and found God, and he's still going to be an asshole.
I feel like he will always be an asshole deep down. Even with God, I think he just sees that God is his way to be able to have that as an excuse to be more of an asshole.
Now in the chat, Dizzy says, Stevie's being fucking gay. Imagine telling a grown man this. No, I would tell, well, probably not now, but no, Shawn Michaels, like, you had no choice but to feel this way about him, it feels like. Where it's like, if you liked wrestling at a certain time, he was the greatest of all time. There was no Will Ospreay yet. Shawn Michaels was still number 1. He's number 2 now. But he was number 1 up until like a year ago. So if you watched wrestling any time in the last 30 years, you better have felt this way. And yeah, Shawn Michaels will hear it a lot. But it's bizarre how this ends up being. Look.
I just wanted to thank you for it, because I wouldn't be in WWE today if it wasn't for you.
Also, wrestling's about respect, handshakes, and little things. So, if anything, this checks all the boxes of how you're supposed to act.
Inspire me to overcome the odds and be a wrestler. Oh, okay, cool. Shook my hand and walked away. After that point, at first I was thought, is Hunter and Shawn together usually, or even one-on-one, he would do it. But they just kind of haze me a little bit and give me a hard time because I said this. So I kind of took it in stride and laughed with him wherever. But then the language started to get into like, are you trying to, and we've all met our heroes, they've disappointed us at one time or another. I started to get the impression that he resented the fact that I told him this. And I was like, is he trying to get me to change my mind?
That is so f***ed up. He definitely resented him for saying it. He saw him as a mark. He saw him as like less of a man, less of a colleague, less of a peer. And now this guy runs NXT. So you better not have liked. No wonder Sexy Red's so great to him. Sexy Red thinks I'm a white Nazi slave owner. I mean, I got to prove myself to her. All these other people, it's like he must be the biggest fucking piece of shit that ever lived, basically. And that's a guy mentoring people now. How's this gonna go?
And we've all met our heroes. They've disappointed us at one time or another. I started to get the impression that he resented the fact that I told him this. And I was like, is he trying to get me to change my mind?
What a piece of shit. And there's no doubt that Shawn Michaels was fucking Pat Patterson way before the title reign and stuff. Like, we're talking Rockers days, the breakup with Marty. He was blowing and fucking Pat Patterson from the start. I don't think he started getting fucked by Vince until maybe IC title, Shawn Michaels has left the building, Elvis Presley stuff. Like, I think right around 92, 93 is when he was fucking Vince. I was watching a clip, the one with Sid in it that we watched together, like last week, or maybe Monday. And it starts, the interview with Sid standing there, Shawn Michaels sitting there, Vince in the middle. Vince looks down at Shawn's dick and goes, "Your waist is looking good, but there's no title on it." What? And then there's that other clip of Shawn kissing Vince. And it's just like boy toy, the whole gimmick and everything. This was the f***iest, gayest fucking industry, just like Hollywood, just like anything on TV. It just injects itself into it. And you had to be a big to get your dreams to come true. And maybe that's what Shawn resents. This guy didn't even me. This guy didn't even have to me to have this conversation. This guy didn't even have to Pat Patterson. He didn't even Blue Meanie. Like, the idea that, like, wow, he's just here saying this right now. Look.
And I was like, is he trying to get me to change my mind about how I feel about, oh, you think I'm such a good guy and a hero and inspiration? And I just got this very off-putting vibe from that point on. It was almost like I thought we were becoming pretty friendly, not friends or anything, pretty friendly where I could ask him to watch my match or advice and he would give it. But that moment kind of turned everything around and put it in a downward spiral. So that was my first thing. And then I had a friend who was a Christian musician in a band, and he was burning CDs and stuff. And he was like, hey, if you know anybody.
This part could get annoying. Anyone trying to it's like someone giving you a SoundCloud link. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely listen to that.
In the locker room that we give it a listen, I really like to, get the word out. I'm just giving this stuff away. I want to get the word out. And I said, I got to find Shawn, because he would talk a little bit about his journey, his Bible study or whatever. But I went up to him and I said, hey, Shawn, I have a friend who's in a Christian rock band, or I think it was Christian rock. And he looked at it, looked at me, looked at the CD, and he goes, let me ask you a question. And my heart sank, because I was like, this isn't the response I was hoping for. And he goes, do you think giving me one of these makes you a good Christian?
What the
I was like,
what the yeah?
I felt like crying at that point, James. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, what? That's all I could do is what?
Geno, why is Shawn Michaels a big piece of shit?
Because he believes that this fucking loser Steve Rich, this Mark, is just like, oh, you're trying to connect to me with God, and you think this is your way of fucking having an open way for us to discuss things, and you're not actually just talking about the fucking good book. You are a loser who's just trying to fucking manipulate the whole situation. You don't fucking care about the Bible like I do in my Jesus, so you are fucking just trying to get your way into God's arms and God's
But
embrace,
wouldn't it be annoying
not going to.
That he's trying to promote his friend's band more than anything? Why is he focusing on the aspect that makes it relatable to? It's very strange.
I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, what? That's all I could do is what? And he's like, answer my question. Do you think this makes you a good Christian? I go, well, no. I go, but I was just trying to, and he was like, and I don't remember because I shut it out, dude, but I could swear I'm getting choked up. He gave me the CD back.
What?
I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
And then just walked away. I was like, okay. Now, what made it kind of like me not thinking I was singled out or, dealing
Is
with
there any doubt that his headphones are on backwards? The cord goes on the left ear.
the two sides of Shawn Michaels. Dreamer
Do you
told
think this makes you a good podcaster?
me, dealing with the two sides of Shawn Michaels. Dreamer told me this himself.
All right, here we go. So now here's another anecdote about why Shawn Michaels is a scumbag. So all Stevie Richards did was love him and appreciate him and tell him. And Shawn Michaels saw it as weakness. And Shawn Michaels knew inside he's a piece of fake. And you told the wrong worker the truth. And he treated him like garbage ever since. Threw a CD, snapped a CD, and threw it on the fucking ground in front of him. And now look, even Tommy Dreamer sees the real Shawn. Apparently, other wrestlers would go to Stevie Richards when Shawn Michaels did things, thinking he would care the most.
And I believe it. He was sitting at catering with Shawn Michaels, and Shawn was telling him, when you get out there, you got to get, basically get your stuff in, do this, make sure you get over. He was really like kind of not browbeating, but very intently telling Dreamer, you got to be vicious, you got to do that. And Dreamer goes, but Shawn, I thought you were a Christian. And he goes, but I still got to get mine. So he said, I am, but I still got to get mine. This was right.
All right, so what's wrong with that? He's talking about work. He's talking about doing a job. He's talking about being a character. He's talking about kayfabe. It makes you not a Catholic anymore because you act vicious in a fake fight.
Tommy was just trying to fucking trigger Shawn just to see if John will actually take the bait, but Shawn's like, no, I'm not going to take the bait. I'm going to focus on this business, focus on this work that you should be too. You're not fucking going to trigger me because, this ECW guy is fucking upset and buttered by what I treated him like. No, you're not going to fucking do this to me. I'm going to focus on the work that we're supposed to be doing together, the business that we need to do.
I like that the only man in this whole story is Tommy Dreamer. Stevie Richards a big f***, Shawn Michaels is a dyke, and Tommy Dreamer's a badass. He don't give a f***.
Beating, but very intently telling Dreamer.
He didn't talk to us that way. When Tommy Dreamer hung out with me and Tyler all night, he just worshipped me like he was Stevie Richards.
You got to be vicious. You got to do that. And Dreamer goes, but Shawn, I thought you were a Christian. And he goes, but I still got to get mine. So he said, I am, but I still got to get mine.
Yeah.
This is right. And Dreamer couldn't wait to tell me because he goes,
So what? Does a Christian not feed a comeback, or does he? Do they not get heat? I don't even get the point. It's not Shawn Michaels' double standard to find God and still be human. It's these expectations people set for him, where everything he says has to be a prayer now. No, he still has other thoughts in his head.
But I still got to get mine. This was right. And Dreamer couldn't wait to tell me because he goes, because I told him about the CD incident.
And there's no such thing as a Christian. If you're a Protestant, get the fuck out. Catholicism is it. That's it. If you're some breakaway religion, you don't count anymore, and you're ruining it.
And you could, even when I just recalled it, you could tell how it hurt me, right? Mm-hmm. And he was like, I just want to let you know, dude, it's not just you. And he told me the story, and it did kind of make me feel better, but it made me feel a lot worse. Because I was like, why does it have to be both ways?
So what does he even mean by that? What's the both ways, Geno? Is it gay again?
Again, I think it's both ways, like that he feels like, this man should be Christian, and he's like, but I still gotta get my shit. I still gotta look strong. But like that, that's one way he sees, but that he could also be a douchebag piece of shit that treats me, a coworker, like an ass because I try to connect with him in a spiritual way with this fucking music that is not connected to the good book, just a fucking friend of his made music that tries to connect to him. That's like, again, it's both ways being an ass, but also trying to be a worker at the same time.
So why does it have to be both ways means why can't he be in the box I put him in? Why is he getting out of the box I made for him?
Like, you can, I just like, and I avoided Shawn every single time I say hello to him or whatever.
I'm sure that was easy to do. He was wrestling John Cena at WrestleMania. Where were you?
But I would normally go the opposite way. So fast forward years and years and years later, one of the NXT writers reached out to me, and I'm friends with a mutual friend, Danny Jacks, up in Massachusetts. Great kid.
Danny Jacks, baby.
Awesome dude. And he goes, I didn't know you were friends with Danny Jacks. And I was like, yeah, he's an awesome dude. And then he said something about NXT and being there. And I said, just wondering, does Shawn still hate me? LOL. And then he messaged back, and he was
he's like a girl. Why does he have to go both ways?
Shawn doesn't hate or
Oh, this is a
not
good
hated.
answer.
He messaged
Look, this is a good answer. Basically, this confirms Shawn's still a piece of shit.
that.
And this made me feel so much better about being blocked by the cross-eyed. Good. I'm glad I affected his day negatively. I'm glad I said something that ruined a moment for him. Because he's a big fucking scumbag who deserves it.
And he was like, Shawn doesn't hate or not hate anybody. He's like Switzerland. I was like, okay. Not going to be any CDs out to him anytime soon. So, I'm sorry. I got a little bit emotional and choked up about it. And, I'm kind of like trying to find my words, but
Choked up.
that to me was like,
There's another stir that comes up involving Jericho here.
I don't know if it's Shane Helms or someone, I hope I'm not getting the name wrong, just basically said, it's a front.
yeah, he famously cursed out Chris Jericho at catering.
Here we go.
Shane saw it.
What's up now, Geno?
That's what Shane's talking about. That he was the old Shawn Michaels, and for some reason he was browbeating Jericho. And I could be wrong, but I believe that was the person. And Shane witnessed it and said, "This dude's a phony." I think he even told.
He is a phony. Look at this, Geno. Shawn Michaels came back, and he did justice.
Who the fuck? Who? Huh? Huh?
Some found this toy.
Who the fuck? Who? Huh? Huh?
Yeah, who the fuck is that? So, yeah, that guy didn't inspire Stevie Richards, Geno. That guy didn't inspire me. And the guy who did inspire us, who was our hero, never even existed.